Welcome back to Narrations. This is a story about slowing down, not because you have time, but because time has finally taught you what matters. It's about pride that softens with age, about forgiveness that waits quietly for the right moment, and about a journey so small on the map that it becomes enormous in the heart. This is the story of the Straight story. Alvin Straight lives alone in a small house in Lawrence, Iowa, the kind of place that creaks and settles the way an old body does. Nothing about Alvin's life is rushed. Every movement is measured. Every habit repeated the same way it has been for years. He wakes early. He makes his coffee carefully. He sits on the porch and watches the world pass without feeling the need to chase it. Alvin is old. His eyesight is failing. His legs ache constantly. He walks with 2 canes now, stubbornly refusing the indignity of asking for more help than he believes he deserves. Independence is not just a preference for Alvin. It's a principle. His only regular companion is his daughter, Rose. Rose lives with him, gentle and anxious, carrying her own wounds from a life that hasn't been kind. She worries about Alvin constantly, hovering without meaning to. Alvin notices this and pretends not to. Love, in their house, is quiet and careful, shaped by years of shared struggle. One afternoon, Alvin hears news that unsettles him more than he expects. His brother, Lyle, has suffered a stroke. The words land heavily. Alvin and Lyle haven't spoken in years. A bitter argument long ago hardened into silence, each man too proud to reach across it. Time did not heal the distance, it simply buried it under routine. Now, suddenly, time feels very short. Alvin sits alone with the knowledge that his brother may die before they ever speak again. Regret presses in, not as panic, but as weight. He knows exactly what he needs to do. He needs to see Lyle. The problem is simple and absolute. Alvin can no longer drive. His license has been taken away for safety reasons he understands but resents deeply. Buses feel humiliating. Asking for rides feels like surrender. Alvin has spent his life refusing to inconvenience others. But pride begins to feel smaller than regret. Alvin looks out at his yard, at the old riding lawn mower he's used for years. It's slow, unreliable, ordinary. And suddenly it's the answer. He decides to drive the mower from Iowa to Wisconsin. Hundreds of miles, at a pace barely faster than walking, to see his brother before it's too late. No speeches. No dramatic announcements. Just a decision made quietly and fully. Rose is terrified when she finds out. She begs him to reconsider. She cries. She lists every danger she can imagine. Alvin listens patiently, but his mind is already settled. Some things, he knows, cannot wait for convenience. He packs lightly. A few clothes. Tools. Memories. He fixes the mower himself, coaxing it into readiness the way he's coaxed his own body through years of pain and limitation. And then Alvin leaves. The mower rattles onto the road, slow and exposed. Cars rush past, drivers staring in disbelief. Alvin doesn't look back. He focuses on what's directly ahead, the narrow stretch of road, the hum of the engine, the horizon that inches closer 1 mile at a time. At night, he camps beneath open skies. He cooks simple meals. He watches stars without hurry. The world feels larger when you move through it slowly. Sounds carry farther. Thoughts linger longer. Strangers begin to notice him. Some stop out of curiosity. Some out of concern. Some out of kindness. They don't fully understand themselves. Alvin accepts help when it's offered, but never asks for it. He talks easily, sharing stories not as confession, but as companionship. Each conversation becomes a small mirror, reflecting parts of his own life back at him. He talks about war, about loss, about mistakes that stay with you longer than victories. He listens to others talk about their fears, their failures, their hopes. Alvin doesn't give advice. He gives presence. The road becomes a place of reflection. With nothing to distract him, Alvin revisits memories he's avoided, the argument with Lyle, the words he can't take back, the silence that followed. He understands now how stubbornness disguised itself as principle. And he understands something else too. Forgiveness is not about winning. It's about arriving. Alvin's journey does not get easier as the miles pass. The mower coughs and sputters more often now. His hands ache from the constant vibration. His legs stiffen when he sleeps on the ground too long. Each morning, standing up feels like a negotiation between will and pain. But Alvin has lived his entire life negotiating with pain. It is familiar. It does not frighten him. What frightens him is the idea of never finishing this. He moves at the pace the mower allows. Slow enough that the world reveals itself in layers most people never notice. Cornfields stretch endlessly. Wind bends grass in quiet waves. The sky feels enormous when you spend all day beneath it without shelter. At night, Alvin builds small fires and sits beside them, warming his hands, letting his thoughts wander. With no radio, no television, no one urging him forward, memory arrives uninvited. He remembers Lyle as a young man, loud, stubborn, laughing too hard. He remembers how similar they were, how easily that similarity turned into conflict. The argument that broke them apart replays in fragments, stripped now of the anger that once fueled it. What remains is regret. Not sharp or dramatic, just heavy. Alvin understands something that took him decades to learn. Being right is a poor substitute for being kind. Along the road, people continue to stop. A group of teenagers camps near him one night, loud and reckless, full of bravado that masks fear. They talk about futures they don't quite believe in yet. Alvin listens. When they ask why he's traveling this way, he tells them simply that he's going to see his brother. Nothing more. The simplicity of the answer silences them. Another time, a woman who has recently lost her husband sits with him, crying openly, unsure why she feels safe doing so with a stranger. Alvin doesn't interrupt. He doesn't try to fix her grief. He lets it exist. When she leaves, she thanks him for listening, as if listening were something rare. It is. The mower breaks down completely at one point, forcing Alvin to confront the limits of independence. He allows a stranger to help repair it. Accepting help does not diminish him the way he once feared. It connects him back to the world he thought he had outgrown. Mile by mile, Alvin grows quieter, not weaker, but more distilled. His pride softens into humility. His stubbornness turns into resolve without resentment. He is no longer traveling to prove anything. He is traveling to say something simple that has waited far too long. When Alvin finally reaches Wisconsin, the journey feels almost unreal. The house where Lyle lives looks ordinary. Modest. No finish line marks the end of this road. No applause waits for him. Alvin parks the mower. He sits for a long moment, gathering breath, courage, and words he doesn't know how to arrange. His legs shake as he stands. He walks slowly toward the house, every step carrying years of silence. Lyle sits on the porch. The brothers look at each other across a distance that has nothing to do with geography. They do not hug. They do not apologize out loud. They simply sit side by side, watching the sky darken as evening settles in. The quiet between them is not awkward. It is earned. Alvin speaks first, his voice calm, almost casual. "I came a long way." Lyle nods. They talk about small things: weather, the road, the mower. The past hovers between them, acknowledged without being dissected. Forgiveness doesn't arrive as a declaration. It arrives as presence. In that moment, Alvin knows the journey is complete, not because the destination has been reached, but because the weight he carried has finally been set down. The Straight story is a film about reconciliation without spectacle. About how courage doesn't always look bold, and how love doesn't always announce itself loudly. It reminds us that sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is move slowly toward what they've been avoiding. And that it's never too late to choose grace over pride. If you enjoyed listening to this story, please like the video, share it with someone who loves movies like this, and subscribe for more narrations.